So today we're here to share some notes and tips. Before we dive into the material, I want to ask, can everybody see my screen okay for the PowerPoint slide? Can I get a thumb up or nod or anything indicate that you can see it okay? Okay, great. So we're here to talk a little bit about professional development. In this workshop, we'll be focusing on the resume, because I know tomorrow is going to be the engineering career. Next week will be the business career fair. So definitely want everybody here to be very prepared for those career fairs and have a perfect resume to show all of your experience and, of course, successfully land your job. So we'll just get started here. In case anybody in the audience doesn't know me, I'll brag myself for a little bit, just to know what the audience are like and what the speaker is. So my name is Grace Nee. I'm a junior studying accounting. My campus involvement has been pretty active. I serve as the president of CornTV, and also I serve as project manager in Illinois Business Consulting. I'm a course assistant in Illinois Consulting Academy, ICA. Then for some internship experience, I'm an incoming assurance intern at UI Atlanta office. This summer and as well as this fall semester, I'm interning at American Supply Association. We're doing some research in industry, doing some business analytics research for them. Then last summer, I was an intern at EnterpriseWorks, which is an incubator on campus. So that's enough about me. Today, I'll be sharing a lot about my experience and my perspectives about resume. So what is this resume business essentially, right? Like, why do we even need a resume? What the heck is this thing doing for our job searching process? Like many people might think, if you want to know a person, let's say if you want to know me and you have never met me before, I would be like this. I will literally show my face here and be like, why don't you see my face, right? Why don't you talk to me? Why don't you make friends with me? How the heck you want to see this boring paper? Then I want to see every aspect of my life. That's just you can't believe that people are using this stupid process to know a person. You want people to know your background, know your personality by talking to you, by communicating well with you. But why, who on the earth invented this, method of showing a paper and show all of your experience? That just doesn't make sense. But even though we complain about it, the reality is that recruiters do need to know a lot of people. They probably need to know hundreds of thousands of candidates, depending on which firm you're recruiting with. Let's say Big Four, probably hundreds or thousands of applicants each semester. Then they just don't have time to sit down and talk with you and really know you and know your experience. Then secondly, they want to make their life a little bit easier. They want a concise format of your life on a piece of paper so that they can read it for 5 seconds and know, if you are a good candidate or not. Then third, they do have the power of giving us a job. So we are begging them to kind of give us a job, and we're begging them to view our resume and stuff. So they are the ones who have the power. That's why we kind of have to follow the game of resume. So in order to play this game, there are some game rules or general rules that I would say to follow before we dive into anything deeper. For example, the format. First, you want to have your big name on the top. This is a simple requirement for all the business resume, and it's considered very business professional. If you are in different colleges, you might see a different formatting of the resume. But if you are applying for a job, let's say in business or in consulting, accounting, finance, that type of thing, following this general format might help you a little bit more. But if you are on a more creative side, like graphic design or anything like that, you might want to check with your own college advisor and like ask for their opinion. Here only applies to like a lot of business or professional services job. So you want to have your big name on the top with your contact information, like shown here. And secondly, you want to have your United background with other education information. If you're a transfer student, if you take any summer classes, you want to note it on the top as well. So this section is education. Then the next section will be some sort of your experience. Just to make recruiters' life easier, you might want to separate them into different groups. What I did here is to separate into professional experience and leadership experience. So professional experience is more like internship or any work experience, while leadership experience is more like on-campus leadership positions, like presidencies or like executive members. Then that counts as leadership. Then corporate involvement is more like events, case competitions, and all that kind of like involvements with different companies. You might not follow exactly the same format as I do, but separating your experience will definitely make it more clear that what you want to convey. So that's like just a good habit to do. Then finally, you might want to add some unique skills and hobbies. As for skills, I separated into technical skills and language skills. So for technical, it's more like any programming language that I've known of, any visualization tools that I can use, Excel, Tableau, etc. Then language skills is very, very important, especially when you are recruiting with big firms. They want to be multilingual so that they can put you on different spots. Like Chinese or English or Japanese as like three languages that I can speak. If you can speak like Cantonese or other languages, you can also put it here, just as a highlight. So that's the general rules of formatting. Then keep going on. The next general rule is the experience. So I just listed a very specific section of my resume. That's my ASA experience or American Supply Association. So this was just my past summer and also this fall's internship. So here are some rules. First, on the first line, you definitely want to list the company and organization's name, the locations that you had that experience, and your position. Like what I did, I was an intern, I was a research intern at ASA, and also the date that you worked there, just to make it clear that experience was in the past or continue to be present or anything like that. Then secondly, you want to have your descriptions in all the bullet points. So the bullet points are a very concise way of showing your experience. We don't want to write an essay about it, even though you definitely could, because like me, I interned there for 2 months. Of course, I can write an essay about it, but again, recruiters don't have time for that. So make their life easier, use bullet points here. Then also for each bullet point, you want to start with an action verb. So what is an action verb? So like say here as an example, identify and analyze, those are action verbs. Transform, those are action verbs. Like co-authored is the action verb. So instead of saying bullet point 1, I am an intern doing XYZ, say identify and analyze possible mismatch and blah, blah, blah. So always start with an action verb. A good rule of thumb is to Google resume action verb. Then you'll get a bunch of lists of different verbs that you can use to describe your experience. So that's just always a very good thing to follow. Then lastly, include some numbers to quantify your impact. We see this a lot, but a lot of people might heard of this, but they just don't care. But essentially, recruiters are looking for those numbers because they want to know what exactly is a result of your action, and also what kind of impact that you made towards your experience. They don't want to see you as just a general member doing some random stuff, in that organization without making an impact. To show that, you must include some numbers. So here I included 350 plus plumbing distributors and contractors. That's like, instead of saying contacting many contractors, I will say specifically 350 plus. Then lastly here, I would say we presented our final report to over 20,000 distributor members. Instead of saying many or a lot, you have to quantify that so that it shows your impact. Okay, so we just went through some general rules of a resume. I think maybe you guys have heard of like similar workshop and stuff talking about the thing over and over again. And you'll be like, yeah, I know it. I'm a master of resume. I definitely know how to write a resume. It's just like bullet points, action verb, everybody knows it. So you might think, okay, that's very easy. So am I ready to win this resume game and just like successfully land a job? I thought the same when I was a freshman, first time knowing those rules. I thought I was a master to win this game. So here is a resume that I wrote for my freshman year. Let's see this resume just for a little bit. My name is on the top, right? I have my big name on the top, just as what we just discussed. Then I have my education. At that time, I was a freshman, so I still have my high school education there. Right now, you don't need to have it, but just like bear with a freshman, right? I had my education, United background here, well listed. I have a pretty high GPA as a freshman, always do. And then I listed different sections. I separated into campus involvement and work experience. For campus involvement, this one is actually CornTV. At that time, we were still using the formal name, but we dropped that. So just assume this CornTV. As a president, I used action verbs, organized, cooperated, then, designed, uploaded, all those like good action verbs I searched online. Good, I used all these. And also I used a lot of numbers. So organize a team of 20 students to produce 30-minute long, 20, 30, those are numbers. Like 7.5K views, that's pretty good numbers. 6 events, those are all numbers. Even here, I have some work experience, right? I've been a student technician at United Union. That was my work experience. We have like this as a teaching assistant. I taught, this many students, very quantifiable, right? So it seems like I was following the rules from all the similar resume workshop that you have might been to. So maybe this resume is pretty good. Yeah, maybe I should use this resume to apply for some jobs. So here I just want to ask a few questions about the participant, if anybody is really listening to the workshop, right? So how much of the chance that you think Grace can land a interview opportunity with this resume? Anybody want to, take a chance or type in the chat, whatever, or speak up, whatever you like. Just guess how much of the chance, let's say out of 100, what's a percentage that I can use this resume to get a interview? Anyone? Come on, just type a random number in the chat. Or just unmute yourself and speak. Now I feel why professors are hesitated to do Zoom interactions. Okay, so while you guys are thinking about that question, that must be a very hard question to guess the possibility of landing a job of this resume. So let's say when I was a freshman, I thought there was a very high chance that I can get an interview, at least 80%, just to be honest, because I follow all the rules. So I thought I was at the winning spot. Then here is the succession or the end of the story. So firstly, a story of Grace. Grace, a freshman, wrote this resume and felt very proud of herself. That's true. She thought about some general rules and, she just learned a few minutes ago about formatting. Great, I had a great format. Experience, great, I had a good experience. Yay, it seems all good to go. She applied to all the Big Four freshman programs as well as some university professional or academies or RSOs. Unfortunately, she got all rejected. This is definitely true and a fact that I have faced in the past, then she started to think that the resume workshop she attended was completely useless, basically trash. Because all these things I have met, but I didn't land a job. So what's the point for attending those resume workshops? And what's going on here? What went wrong, right, with this resume? As we already talked about, it seems like a pretty good resume. It has like numbers and all that, but exactly what went wrong? Why didn't I use this resume and land a job somewhere at Big Four or somewhere in other companies or even just within the university? That was a question that I asked it myself. So to dive deeper into that, let's see what a recruiter might see my resume. So suppose right now I change my identity to be a Big Four recruiter. I saw this resume, then immediately I will point out some weird points. First, looking at the education, GPA 4.0, perfect GPA. Okay, she's a good student. That's my initial thought about this person. Then I looked at her experience of student run campus news TV station, a 9 view videos, those two experience, right? She has organized a number of events and produced a number of videos. So she's a good video editor. Then she was involved in accounting club. So I was like, wait, what was her major again? Oh, accountancy. So she actually likes accounting? Or is that a major that her parents actually like forced her to do so? But because obviously she is very passionate about video editing. So why was she choosing accounting as a major and what's going on with this accounting club? I got confused. Then looking at the work experience, the recruiter just might got even more confused. So as a teaching assistant earned commission for a online teaching program. So which means she likes marketing as well. And also she served as a student technician, a 9A union. Wait, so tech as well? So what's going on with this person? Is this person a good candidate for an accounting program? Probably not, because she is all about video editing. So the final conclusion that this recruiter might think is that this person must have chosen a wrong major, or she must have applied to a wrong position. Just with this resume, if we are recruiting for a video editor, I might take her. But unfortunately, we're Big Four. We are recruiting for accountants. So this role doesn't really just apply to business world. It actually applies to every position that you are ever applying. If you apply some position with some irrelevant experience, nobody will take you because you demonstrate little relevant experience and you didn't demonstrate a lot of like professional experience towards that position. So recruiters would just think that you must have applied to the wrong position or you didn't even know what you want to do in the future. So that's not good. Guess we might need to change a little bit for our resume. Here comes our advanced tips. So first advanced tips that I will give is experience selection. Not every experience that you have should be on your resume. So here with my newest resume, you can see that my work experience at the United Union as a student technician was gone. Even though I spent 2 years there, it's not on my resume. Why? Because I'm applying for either an accounting job or a consulting job. I'm not looking for a technician or audio and video technician job. So that's irrelevant to my experience. Take that out. And you might also see that some other things were out too. Like the teaching assistant just mentioned in the previous page, that was gone too. Because I was not interested in the sales position. I was not interested in a marketing position. So those experiences were irrelevant in this case. Instead, on my resume, I know that I need to do more experience related to the position that I want to do. So first, accounting club is on my resume, and I advanced to the public relations chair. which makes it even more valuable because now I'm not just a member who's just being there listening to all the workshops. I'm actually demonstrating my leadership there because I serve on the executive board. Then Illinois Business Consulting, I joined them when I was a sophomore. Then right now I can show, okay, as a consultant, I did this. As a senior consultant, I did this because I've only been to a project manager position for 2 weeks. So I actually don't have any experience listed out with like the project manager title, but I do have some experience with senior consultant. Then of course my ASA experience is business related. So I would definitely put it there. That's how I select my experience. To sum it up, there are 2 types of experience that you really should put on your resume. First is whatever experience that is related to the position that you applied. So for example, I applied to an accounting position. I would just say all these things, I rank it up, maybe prioritize some accounting related experience there, or some business related internship there. Then business professional RSOs, those are type of experience that is relevant to the position. Or, highlighted here, those are all the, professional experience that is related to the position. Or you can put some experience that expresses your skills or abilities that the employer wants. First of all, definitely leadership. If you hold any position in any organization, say that specifically in your leadership section, if anything relates to teamwork, technology, innovation, you can put those things in your resume as well. And also be sure that you direct all your bullet points towards those type of skills or abilities as well. So if you want to emphasize on technology, specifically say what technology you used. So here I want to say I'm proficient in Excel. So I would just say, as a consultant at IBC, I forecasted product demand of the next selling period of 10 popular items by developing an Excel open to buy model. Excel open to buy model basically means I can really use Excel in work. If you want to emphasize on anything else, like make sure that you specifically say that out so that the recruiter don't have to go through the whole page and try to guess whatever skills or ability that you try to demonstrate here. That's the first advanced tips that I will give. Then here, the second one is really about content. Again, like I just mentioned, focus on skills that you want to emphasize. If it's like about project management, say if you want to apply for an accounting job or a consulting job, you want to showcase that you have a high ability of task management, time management, specifically say that in your bullet points. Don't just describe a bunch of things, but just say you managed, the project by how long, or strategically planned out some project for long-term or short-term. Just say that out. Then show your efforts and the impact of your actions. So in the business world, or many recruiters are looking for some impact that you can make to the organization. So specifically say that your action lead to this result. That would definitely help to demonstrate your leadership and also your technical skills. For example, here with my American Supply Association experience, I say I identified and analyzed possible mismatch in expectations between wholesale plumbing distributors and contractors by contacting 350 plus plumbing distributors and contractors. And also I transform qualitative insights into quantitative insights using Tableau and Excel. So that's like I have the skill to use those software. And I co-authored and presented final report delineating findings to 20,000 plus distributor members. That's the impact that I'm making here to show my efforts. So my efforts actually worked out, and it helped to solve some real world problem. So by looking at this, I'm showing that this person is capable of solving complex business problems. That's all those 3 bullet points want to express. Then another example could be my CornTV experience. So I say I founded a video producing organization to help students better utilize services and resources provided by the university. That's the vision of CornTV, and that's what we do here. Then I supervised 6 teams, like 30 plus members on budget control, event organizing, and project management. So I specifically say that I'm good at budgeting control, event organization, and project management. And lastly, I said, what's the result? So what? So what comes out of this organization? We increase students' awareness of university resources by having 2,000 plus videos on various social media platforms. That's the result, and it's quantified. So by reading this, recruiters might just say, okay, this person is actually very innovative and has demonstrated strong leadership ability throughout this experience. So how can I master this game? By now, you have received both general rules and advanced tips about resume, but it's really important that you put those tips into practice and also try it on your own. First advice that I would give is to gain more experience. If you don't have any experience, no one can really help you, right? Because if we're here to share more storytelling skills and techniques, if you don't even have that story, we just can't help you with the storytelling. Then reflectively about what you have learned from those experiences. Was it about leadership? Was it about teamwork? Was it about innovation? What exactly did you learn from that experience? And what kind of skills that you developed from those experiences too? Then modify your resume so that it's position specific. Every time I apply to a position, I review my resume and make an adjustment. Whether that be consulting, whether that be accounting, I will make sure that I met all the qualifications that the employer listed on Handshake or anywhere that you saw their job posting. And just to make your resume very position specific. If it's accounting, I will highlight my accounting experience. If it's consulting, I will highlight my consulting experience as well. So that's just like something to keep in mind. Always make sure that your resume is not very generic and apply to every position that you apply. It has to be very specific towards whatever position that you applied. Then have multiple resume reviews. I do this a lot with my advisors at the Career Center. I have definitely multiple resume reviews with him. And also sometimes I just invite my friends or classmates or some coworkers to look over my resume and be like, okay, how do you think about my resume? Do you think I demonstrate my leadership ability throughout this experience? Do you think I demonstrate strong technical skills through this XYZ experience? Having a third person to look through your resume will definitely help you understand whether you have achieved your goals through your resume writing. Then, just to share some resources on campus that you can use. First one is Writer's Workshop. They can just read your resume and help you with the grammar and all different services that they can provide. If you meet a good advisor, they might give you some content advice as well, especially if they're in the same major or in the same position as you do. But at least it can make sure that your resume is like error-free, grammatically correct. Then you can always visit the Career Center. They have different services. You can use an online resume review to review your resume. You can just submit it. Then people will get back to you in a few days, I believe. Then also you can also schedule a session with one of the advisors there. Then they will just spend 30 minutes to review your resume and kind of polish it up. Then in business, we have Business Career Services, also known as BCS. You can go there and also find advisors to help you review your resume. Then for engineering, there is a strong presence in engineering career services, though a lot of people might not use them as frequent as BCS. But for engineering majors, they know better on how to write engineering position specific resumes and how to direct your positions or your experience towards the position that you applied. So go talk to the advisors there. They also provide some online services too, so that you can just submit your resume and they will get back to you in a few days. So assume that your resume worked after the session, then you really learn a lot from the workshop, then you have successfully received an interview. Now what's going on? You might have to see like two kinds of interviews. Well, with engineering, you might have a technical round as a test or exam that I'm really sorry I can't help because I'm not in the field. But in the business world or generally, you might see two types of interviews. One is a behavior interview, another one is the case interview. The behavior interview is mostly about leadership, teamwork, time management, or conflict. You might have heard something like STAR method, or you might wonder if there's any advanced tips that you should be able to know. And for the case interviews, many people were just simply very confused. Like, what exactly is a case interview? Then we heard something about meet-see structure or math problem or communicate well with your interviewer or something like that. But what does those things mean? So today we won't dive into specifically about interviews because we don't have enough time. Either topic we can take up to an hour or more if you want to practice. And just by explaining what they are is going to take a bunch of time. So we do have the feedback form here. If anybody is interested in learning more about the interview sessions, we can host them later. So if you can take out your phone and scan the QR code for us, we have like literally 3 questions. One is to rate the effectiveness of this workshop, and 2 others were like your interest in having the behavior interview workshop or the case interview workshop. If you can fill that out, we'll definitely appreciate that because those feedback can help us to make the workshop better, then help us help more people in the future.